Homo Ludens, from the Latin word ludus, from ludere, which covers the whole field of play. Play is older than culture. For culture, however, inadequately defined, always resupposes human society, and animals have not waited for man to teach them their playing. Homo Ludens, the importance of the element of play in culture and society. Huizenga used the term play theory to define the conceptual space in which play occurs. Society is constantly changing our environment in direct reflection of what is socially acceptable and socially needed. Both Riverside Park and the New York City HighLine are examples of repurposing our land with the need for social play and interaction. Both projects were restoration projects that kept our history alive while changing its use. Now being used as public parks, these historical places are used to bring the people of New York City together.
What is recognized today as Riverside Park was once a railway connecting New York City to Albany until 1864. William R. Martin, a parks commissioner, was the first to propose the transformation of the ruins of the railroad to a park. In 1872, the first segment of the park was acquired through condemnation due to a bill introduced into the legislature by Commissioner Andrew Green. From 1875 to 1910, architects and horticulturists such as Calvert Vaux and Samuel Parsons laid out to stretch the park between 72nd and 125th Street. They created the appearance that the park was an extension of the Hudson River Valley. The park began to grow and serve its needs with the beginning of the City Beautiful movement, which began in the early 20th century. It began storing monuments and sculptures as the city's heroes. In 1937, during Robert Moses' administration, the park underwent another growth phase, with the addition of 132 acres of land along the entire expansion of the park. Before his addition to the park, he described the existing railway and park as a wasteland 6 miles long, stretching from where he stood all the way north to 181st Street. The park was nothing but a vast, low-lying mass of dirt and mud. Unpainted, rusting, jagged wire fences along the tracks barred the city from its waterfront. The engines that pulled trains along the tracks burned coal or oil. From their smokestacks, dense black smoke rose towards apartment houses, coating windowsills with dirt. A stench seemed to hang over the Riverside Drive endlessly after a passenger train carrying south to the slaughterhouses in downtown Manhattan carload after carload of cattle and pigs. Robert Moses' project added new landfills west of the track, covered the New York Central Rail Line, and constructed the Henry Hudson Parkway in 1934. In 1980, the park, extending from 72nd and 125th Street, was designated a scenic landmark by the New York City Landmarks Preservation Commission. Neighboring Riverside Park were Donald Trump's 57 acres. Trump had developed a massive plan to take form there, but by multiple refusals, Trump scaled down his plan. Thus, 23 acres were added to park space, creating South Riverside Park. Riverside Park now stretches from 72nd and 125th Street to 72nd and 59th Street, covering most of the west coast of Manhattan City. It has dog parks, soccer fields, basketball courts, handball courts, children's playgrounds, tracks, and a recreational pier. Riverside Park is a contribution to the theme of Homo Ludens. It was once a place of work, busy and packed, and now it became a place for man to play.
Before the HighLine was built, New York City was all street-level railroads that went down the west side. From 1847 to 1929, trains were on ground level, causing enormous amounts of traffic on the west side, which led to many accidents between cars and trains. During this time, men rode on horses in front of the trains for safety reasons, as seen in this pic. These were the West Side Cowboys. Then, in 1934, the HighLine was created, also known as the West Side Improvement Project, costing the city $100 million and adding 32 acres to Riverside Park. It was the railroad in the sky, stretching over the buildings and connecting through the interiors of factories. It ran through 34th Street to St. John's Park Terminal at Spring Street, providing the meatpacking district with its products. The HighLine had its last run in 1980, with its final delivery. a train filled with frozen turkeys. For 20 years, the HighLine sat untouched and overgrown. The tracks became hidden as wildlife took over the once active railroad. Then, in 2001, a planning study was conducted by architect Casey Jones. She is responsible for starting the Friends of the HighLine, a group of volunteers to restore and preserve the HighLine to its once original state. Now starts the process. What should we do? In 2005, a design competition was held, and out of 720 applicants from 36 different countries, architects James Cornerfield Operations and Diller Scaffoldo and Renafro were chosen as the winners. Then in 2005, Mayor Bloomberg announces the New York State CSX Transportation Inc., the railroad company, and the City of New York jointly file with the Surface Transportation Board to railbank the HighLine. This officially reclaiming the HighLine as a New York City landmark. Shortly after, in April of 2006, construction of Phase 1 began. Different types of planes were used in the construction, with specific percentages for each landing. Various types of peel-ups were used throughout the HighLine. This created the illusion of seating being intertwined within the flooring. We then went on our own tour of the HighLine and took some pictures while enjoying our walk through the park. What's next for the HighLine? Stage 3 is in its first stages of construction currently. This area is going to incorporate many parts of play. This fully integrated playground has digouts for children to hide, talking tubes, groper holes, and rotating beams that children can be fully involved in playing with their environment and changing it. The main area of Phase 3 is an open space that is still in the design process. Either it is going to be an amphitheater or an open area with landscaping and a water display. The final phase is set to open summer 2014.